Medical Department. It is very necessary and advantageous for every airline to provide medical treatments and benefits to all its employees in general, and its crew members in particular. This unvarnished statement might hurt some of the employees, but the fact remains that every crew member has got to remain 100% fit for operating flights, thus does not apply to the staff on the ground with that higher degree of rigidity. Every airline possesses a very qualified team of doctors efficient and highly qualified to treat any patient themselves. In addition to this, they are empowered by the airline to refer the patients to eminent specialists and reputed nursing homes for exceptional treatments. Employees remain completely assured about the best possible treatment through the airline, however grave may their sickness be. Transport Department. This department takes care of the transportation of 1. Crew members. Crew members are picked up from their individual residences for flights and official duties and dropped back. 2. Passengers. Passengers are reached to the aircraft from the terminal building and vice versa, whenever the aircraft is parked beyond the reach of the aerobridge. 3. Mobile staircases. Mobile staircases are attached to the aircraft for embarkation and disembarkation of the passengers and the crew members. 4. Catering equipment and staff. Catering personnel are reached to the aircraft for discharging their duties along with the needed equipment and provisions and returned to their section. 5. Cargo, mail and passenger baggage. Cargo, mail and passenger baggage are delivered to and from the aircraft by trolleys. 6. Engineering equipment and required staff. Engineering personnel are reached to the aircraft for discharging their duties along with the needed equipment and provisions and returned to the hangar. 7. Carrying various personnel at odd hours. Certain personnel might be needed for duty at an unconventional time for operation of flights. Security and Vigilance Department. As the name suggests, this department looks after the security and well-being of the staff and the passengers of the airline and safeguards against damage and pilferage of the airline properties. The staff of this department are to be posted inside the hangars to prevent theft of aircraft components and other airline properties, inside the passenger lounge of the airports, for X-raying and sealing the passengers' baggage and for safeguarding the passengers. At all airlines establishments, to prevent pilferage of airlines' properties, safeguard the employees, and to restrict the entry of undesired persons inside these premises. Gate passes are issued by the staff of this department to allow legitimate persons into the various establishments of the airline. Near the aircraft, to prevent unwanted incidents inside or near the aircraft and to keep up passenger safety. Mobile checks are carried out by the officers of this department by going around and periodically supervising the staff's actions at different locations. Stores and Purchases Department. This department looks after the supply of all articles needed by individual departments of the airline, ranging from stationery items for running the office, to uniform for the employees to components or spare parts of the aircraft etc., and is related to their purchase. Interaction of cabin crew with various departments. 1. Interaction with catering section staff. Cabin crew and catering section personnel normally belong to the same department, such as in-flight services. In some airlines, the cabin crew members come under the operations department and catering section personnel fall under the commercial department. It can be reiterated that the catering section personnel are required to supply every requisite item for satisfying the passengers' needs on board, and the cabin crew are to utilize those supplies to render a commendable on-board passenger service. 2. Interaction with the staff of the operations department. Movement control staff belonging to the operations department and cabin crew members meet prior to every flight. It becomes quite essential that the personnel of both these categories be mutually related in a cordial bond because of their job demands that makes them somewhat dependent on each other, similar to cabin crew and catering section staff, to a certain extent. To clarify, the operations department staff has the authority to alter the duty of any cabin crew citing justified official exigency. This said modification might not suit the concerned cabin crew and he or she could, in turn, resort to adopt some unfair, but ultimate means to elude the modification. 3. Interaction with the staff of the engineering department. On arrival at the aircraft, the cabin crew members are required to check the emergency equipment and to report about its total serviceability to the cabin crew in charge. While doing so, they might detect some flaws with that equipment. These detected faults, commonly known as snags, should necessarily be rectified through the engineering department staff. For the minor faults, a habitual polite approach, good-natured person-to-person interaction in a soft tone, would just get their work done, but for major snags, an official reporting in writing might necessarily be done through the cabin defect report book duly vouched for by the commander of the flight. 4. Interaction with staff of the commercial department. Sometimes certain situations at times might demand the passengers to be brought to the aircraft a little later than scheduled. These situations might arise from reasons like staff reporting late, crew reaching the airport late or cleaning and dressing of the cabin remaining incomplete, etc. Then, the cabin crew members do not cherish the embarkation of the passengers, considering the discomfort which they, the passengers, would then suffer. In such cases, a polite conversation with the commercial departure in charge could become necessary to make him or her realize the problem from the cabin crew's point of view. In these circumstances, he or she would readily cooperate, and the inconvenience would be solved smoothly. Summary. In-Flight Services Department has two sections that comprise of two categories of employees, such as cabin crew and catering section staff. Operations Department looks after everything relating to the operation of flights. The countdown of the FDTL period begins from the time crew members report at the airport or movement control. The chart reflecting the duty of crew members is called Crew Flight Duty Roster, Crew Roster, or simply Roster. Engineering Department furnishes the aircraft in a perfect flying condition earlier than its predetermined departure time for operating a flight. Personnel Department looks after the administrative part of the airline. Security and Vigilance Department looks after the security and well-being of the staff and the passengers of the airline, and safeguards against damage and pilferage of the airline properties.